It's Tuesday, April 22nd, 1692, and now witches from all over the region supposedly assembled in Salem Village. Multiple witness testimonies from several afflicted accusers and confessors together show us the full extent of what allegedly goes down at this massive witches' Sabbath. The afflicted report that 3 New England ministers, including George Burroughs and John Bussey from New Hampshire, joined the assembly. Spectre George Burroughs blew a trumpet to call 2 companies of witches together and then reminded the witches that their goal was to overthrow the New England churches and establish Satan's kingdom on earth. Hello, and welcome to Salem Witch Trials Daily. I'm Josh Hutchinson. So much is happening today. We'll cover some of the records from today, tomorrow too.
This is Sarah Jack. 9 new suspects were arrested and questioned today.
The examination of alleged witch Nehemiah Abbott Jr. was unique among all encounters between the accusers and the accused, with a special twist ending.
At the outset, magistrates John Hathorne and Jonathan Corwin wanted the afflicted to positively identify the subject, and Ann Putnam Jr. was able to name him, while Mary Walcott had seen his shape only.
After Nehemiah denied being a witch multiple times, the afflicted people's mouths were stopped when they were asked again if he was the one that hurt them.
Nehemiah said, "I am altogether free."
Hathorne admonished the afflicted persons to charge him not unless it be he.
Some of the afflicted said he was the man, and others said he was very like him.
Hathorne asked Ann Putnam Jr. how she knew Nehemiah's name, and she replied that he hadn't told her himself, but other witches, specters, had told her. Anne said, "It is the same man," but then she was taken with a fit.
Then he asked Mary Walcott, "Is this the man?"
She said, "He is like him. I cannot say it is he."
Mary Lewis said Nehemiah wasn't the man, and the others agreed the man they had seen had a bunch on his eyes.
After a while, Nehemiah was sent away and others were brought in to be examined. But later he was led back into the room, but the meeting house was so crowded and the windows were full of people looking in, so the room was too dark for anybody to make a good identification.
Nehemiah was taken outside where the afflicted accusers took a good look at him in the sunlight and engaged him in some undisclosed discourse, each one declaring him not to be the man they had seen. He lacked the bunch, or the wen, that they had seen in his apparition.
After this, the magistrates released Nehemiah on the spot. He was the only person to be released in this way and cleared by the magistrates based on a lack of identification or confusion over his identification, because the afflicted, they just weren't so sure.
Next was an accused woman. When she was questioned, Mary Black, the enslaved servant of Nathaniel Putnam, maintained her innocence and said she didn't know who hurt the afflicted people.
Hathorne asked Mary about an encounter that her master's son, Benjamin Putnam, who happens to be my first cousin, by the way, revealed to the court. He reported seeing a man sit with her on the farm about a year ago. Mary said the man hadn't said anything at all. No other details were recorded. Was this the devil they're talking about?
Hathorne asked the afflicted if Mary Black hurt them, and several of them said yes, but Mary continued to deny hurting them.
Then Hathorne asked Mary if she pricked sticks. She said, "No, I pinned my neckcloth."
Judge Hathorne decided to do an experiment. He said, "Well, take out a pin and pin it again."
When Mary did as she was instructed, the afflicted cried out that they were pricked. Blood ran from Mary Walcott's arm, Abigail Williams was pricked in the stomach, and Mercy Lewis was supposedly pricked in the foot. Supposedly.
After this, the magistrates ordered Mary Black be jailed.
Now the court gets a wild, wild tale. Benjamin Hutchinson, who's my uncle, told the court that yesterday, the 21st of April, he'd witnessed Abigail Williams claim that there was a little black minister, meaning that he was dark-haired, that lived at Casco Bay. He told me so and said that he had killed 3 wives, 2 for himself and 1 for Deodat Lawson. This is a story against Reverend Burroughs.
Abigail went on to explain to Benjamin that Reverend George had recruited 9 witches in Salem and bragged about his great strength.
According to Benjamin Hutchinson, this exchange happened at about 11 o'clock. He asked where George's specter stood. Abigail pointed to the spot, and Benjamin threw a 3-grained iron fork that was in his hand. Abigail fell into a fit, and then when it was over, she said Benjamin had torn George's coat on one side.
Benjamin said that basically the same thing went down when they went into Ingersoll's tavern. When Benjamin worked about noon, Abigail said, "There he stands." And Benjamin drew his rapier, but Abigail said George was gone. Then she said there was a gray cat, and Benjamin struck the spot with his rapier.
Abigail fell into a fit. When it ended, she said, "You killed her." And immediately Sarah Good came and carried her away. She carried the cat away, spectrally.
About 4 p.m., after the Thursday lecture, according to Abigail, Benjamin stabbed Deliverance Hobbs' specter on the side as she crawled along on a table in Ingersoll's tavern.
Abigail Williams and Mary Walcott told Benjamin the room was full of specters, and he went on a rampage. Joined by Eli Putnam, Benjamin swung and stabbed here, there, and everywhere.
When the dust settled, Mary and Abigail told the men that they killed a great black woman of Stonington, a town in Connecticut, and, quote, "an Indian that come with her, for the floor is all covered with blood." Gory.
But that wasn't all. Looking outside, Mary and Abigail claimed to see a great company of witch specters on a hill, and there was 3 of them lay dead, the black woman and the Indian, and 1 more that they knew not.
On April 22nd, when Hathorne and Corwin examined Mary Esty, Hathorne asked if Mary was guilty, and she replied, "I can say before Christ Jesus I am free."
Hathorne asked, "How far have you complied with Satan, whereby he takes this advantage against you?"
Mary said, "Sir, I never complied, but prayed against him all my days. I have no compliance with Satan in this. What would you have me do?"
"Confess if you be guilty."
"I will say it. If it was my last time, I am clear of the sin."
"Of what sin?"
"Of witchcraft."
"It is marvelous to me that you should sometimes think they are bewitched and sometimes not, when several confess that they have been guilty of bewitching them."
She said, "Well, sir, would you have me confess that I never knew?"
Breaking out of a fit, Betty Hubbard cried out, Goody Esty, you are the woman, you are the woman. Put up her head, for while her head is bowed, the necks of these are broken."
A little later, the judge asked Mary, "What did you think of the actions of others before your sisters came out? Did you think it was witchcraft?"
"I cannot tell."
He said, "Why do you not think it is witchcraft?"
And she said, "It is an evil spirit, but whether it be witchcraft, I do not know."
The afflicted accused Mary of bringing them the devil's book, and then they fell into fits. Judges Hathorne and Corwin committed Mary Esty to jail. Her sisters were already there in irons, and now she is too.
Margaret Reddington submitted a deposition in which she claimed that around 3 years ago, she was at Isaac Esty's house talking with Mary Esty about an infirmity that she, Margaret, had, and presently after, Margaret fell into a most solemn condition.
And now, the Thursday before the last day of Thanksgiving was held, Margaret was exceedingly ill. That night, Spectre Mary Esty appeared and offered Margaret a piece of fresh meat.
Margaret told the spectre that the meat was not fit for the dogs, and she would not have any. Then the spectre vanished. I guess the spectre should have brought a witch cake.
Samuel Smith also gave in a deposition against Mary Esty, saying that 5 years ago, more or less, he was at Isaac Esty's house one night. Apparently he was too rude, and Mary Esty told him he had not best be so rude in discourse, for he might rue it hereafter.
As Samuel was going home that night, just a quarter mile from the Esty house, he took a blow to the shoulder as he passed a stone wall. which rattled and spooked his horse. I think he just had a little too much cider and kind of got too close to that wall. And we'll be back tomorrow with more about today's events in Salem and also tomorrow's happenings.